Night was falling heavily over the Backlands of Bahia when old Benedito, a former cowboy known for his unshakable faith, was getting ready to sleep on the porch of his simple mud house. He had been a lonely man since the death of his wife, living, surrounded by roosters, dogs, and a faith that he never abandoned. The nights were long but peaceful, except for the distant howls that occasionally broke the silence of the forest. On that particular night, the air was different. The wind blew coldly as if bringing an ancient warning. Benedito lit the lantern and prayed louder than usual, feeling a dark premonition creeping up his spine. Something ancient and forgotten by the words of men was about to emerge from the darkness, and he, without knowing it, was at the center of a terror that the elders preferred not to talk about. At dawn, a scream of both human and animalistic sounds pierced the darkness. Benedito, with his heart racing, grabbed his shotgun and followed the sound, thinking it was some animal attacking his livestock. But what he found was an impossible scene: giant claw marks embedded in the ground, a torn ox and a wooden cross turned upside down in the pasture. Confused and terrified, he went to the village church but found it open, empty, with all the saints facing the wall. Father Clementino, who was sleeping in the back, said only, "The werewolf is back, Benedito, and he's hungry." The old cowboy, skeptical until then, was forced to believe. Now his goal was to survive until dawn and protect the village from a curse that seemed to have awakened precisely to hunt him. With each passing hour, Benedito faced visions and traps. First, the dirt road that led to the city mysteriously disappeared, as if swallowed by the forest. Then, his dogs, who had accompanied him for years, disappeared without a trace, one of them leaving only his collar attached to the bloody fence. The forest began to whisper things in voices that seemed familiar, calling him by names that no one else used. He tried to return home, but found his door locked from the inside. Desperate, he ran to the church bell tower, where the tolling of the bell warded off evil, but the bell was broken, its rope precisely cut. The creature, he realized, was intelligent and liked to play on fear before attacking. He was surrounded, and time seemed to drag on as if the clock itself was afraid to move forward. No auge do pavor, at the height of his terror, Benedito found himself in front of the old cemetery where his wife was buried. The creature appeared behind a mausoleum, its red eyes glowing like embers, and its claws dripping mud and blood. He had only one silver bullet, a memento left by an old priest who said, "One day you'll know when to use it." His hand trembled. The wind stopped. Time stood still. Era tudo ou nada. It was all or nothing. Morreria. If he missed, he would die. Seria devorado. If he hesitated, ele fez o sinal da cruz. Mirou bem no coração da fera e atirou. Aimed right at the beast's heart and fired. Sem almas sendo puxadas para like 100 souls being pulled into hell contorcendo até virar until it turned to dust before the old man's eyes. Mas antes de before disappearing, it muttered something. Isso não acaba here. Com o amanhecer, with dawn, the sky clareou lentamente, como se aliviado. The birds began to sing again. Os pássaros voltaram a cantar, unaware of what had happened, e a vila, sem saber o que ocorrera, acordou Benedito, em paz. Dirty. Benedito, and exhausted, looked at his wife's grave and smiled, olhou para o túmulo da esposa, e sorriu com lágrimas nos olhos. Evil can sleep. A bala de prata funcionou, mas ele sabia que o mal pode dormir. And in each full moon, he left a circle of salt around his home. Guardião. He learned that courage is not the absence of fear, but action in spite of it. Aprendeu que coragem não é ausência de medo. Mas ação, apesar dele, is to remember who we are. E que na luta contra monstros, o mais importante é lembrar quem somos, para que o medo não nos transforme naquilo que juramos destruir.